What's happening? We got another video here. We're gonna try to knock out here real quick. Um, so again, I'm just showing knives that I have and knives that I like. I'm not a professional. In fact, I don't even really know that much about knives, other than I carry them, and there are certain things that I like about certain designs that I see out and about, and on the internet and YouTube and whatnot. So I thought that I might document this. I don't remember why, but for some reason I was looking this knife up on eBay. I really don't remember why. Maybe I was looking to see what they were going for nowadays. And I ended up finding this guy on eBay for like 20 bucks shipped. And looking at the pictures, it looked like it was in great shape. For me anyways. Now I've lubricated it and didn't clean up my mess. It did not come with a pocket clip. Maybe that's why I got it so cheap. So I temporarily robbed a pocket clip from this guy, because it's the same pocket clip, the same screws. This is the crkt m16-13dsfg. Okay, so anyways, I picked one of these up for my dad as a gift maybe 3 years ago or so, and I wanted him to have something like this, but I felt like he might think that this is too big. And I'd always kind of had my eye on this, and I eventually just I had to buy him a gift for Christmas or something. I don't remember the exact year or reason. There might have been like, it doesn't matter. Why am I going on about that? I'm trying my best to stay on point. It's a strange new habit of mine to talk too much. Okay, so what can I say about it? Well, the main things that I like about it are its shape. I've been on a kick of these new knives, these bigger knives, which barely fit in the video. So there's one. There's another, and here's another, and these, I'm not done. I've got more on the way. In fact, I just added this to this cold steel. What do they call that? The Recon? No. Counterpoint XL. That's another story. Okay, so we're gonna get him out of the picture and try to stay on task. So before I made this video this evening, I decided that I was going to hop on YouTube and watch some other videos and see what people are saying and see what they're not saying. And one video, I didn't count the videos, but there was maybe 7 or 8 videos specifically for this knife. I'm talking about, I don't care about color, I'm talking about the handle and the blade style. I know they make a black version, and I believe they might make newer versions without the top flipper. Maybe. I'm not sure exactly. It's hard to keep track with some of these knives. These are made by crkt, and as you can see right there, this particular model says, if you're awake, you're training. And I want to say that I saw that reference somewhere within the last year, and I don't remember what it is. That was a piece of information I was kind of curious about. Most of the actually, this is the only knife I've seen that has this on it, and I've Googled it, asked a few questions in YouTube, on a few YouTube videos about this. Maybe somebody will get back with me at some point, but So yeah, I'm just going to kind of take this point and just this moment and just kind of talk about the knife, and then we're going to zero in on some of the features and then maybe share some of my thoughts and perhaps weigh it and show specifications. You know what does it weigh? How big is it? Etc. Etc. So I like to get the scale out of here, so we're going to weigh it first. But I've not weighed it. I'm not weighed anything on this. This is basically just a towel. I'm using it as a towel as a nice little backdrop here. I'm not 100% sure that it's... I don't know how the weighing is done, if it's done to the feet or if it's done to this top lip. I'm assuming it's the top. So let's go ahead and set it down. Could be the feet. The way that it's varying so much. So, since that's a little shady, we'll just go ahead and get the box out that it came in and zero it. And let's get some guys out here that I know what they weigh. Yep, that's right on the money. Yep. Seems like I remember hearing that nickels weighed 5 grams. I'll be right back. All right, so our nickel weighs 5 grams. Same with our quarter. Dime's what, 2? Okay, fair enough. All right, let's get the new knife on the scale. 114 grams. That's a Gerber Easy Out. Here's this is my lightest knife, AKCF 16. Some Kershaw, something or other. Okay, well, we see its weight. We'll get this out of here. Guess we can talk about its length. I saw one guy say that the blade was 4 inches. I don't know about that. I was thinking that this was 4 inches. Let's just find out. It's 3.5 inches. If we go metric, almost exactly 90. Okay, 90 millimeters. About thickness, I bet you that's about 3 millimeters. Yep, right on the money, 3. I can measure the handle, I guess. Approximately 116 millimeters long. What about in inches? I can't do fractions in my head that quick. So a little past 4.5 inches. Like, what's that, 5/8? 4 inches and 5/8 inch. Okay. All right, so I got this used on eBay, like I said, and it appeared to be in real good shape. I think that recently I was thinking about getting one of these for myself, and when I saw that they were like $60, I was like, you know, I don't need it that bad. I've got plenty of knives. I was just having a moment of, I don't know, weakness, I suppose, and just kind of thinking about picking one up. And I've been looking at these periodically, and I don't know, for some reason it never dawned on me that I can buy a used knife. I usually buy them new. I'm not afraid of used things. I buy a lot of used things, but my knives, I don't know how to sharpen knives, so they're only sharp when I get them new. And I thought that, I don't know, it's like the one time I get to have a sharp knife is when they're new. So the main things I like about this knife is its shape and size. Now I'm grabbing gloves. I'm going to see how it feels in the gloves. Can I open and close this with gloves on? Ooh, that's a challenge. I can. This has the crkt auto locks. I've heard some people say they don't like it. I like it. I don't know. I don't think it's that complicated. That's not what's hanging me up right now. It's my inability to get my thumb into this lock. So essentially how this works, how the auto lock works is we have a lock and then a safety for the lock. You'll see, well, this camera is fantastic. As I move this guy, I have seen some people say they don't care that color for red. That's an easy fix. A Sharpie would take care of that. Especially if you're doing tip down, that red draws attention to your pocket. Because I imagine that might be right at the edge of your pocket. I don't know, maybe not. If that clip, trying to see if that red dot would be visible in your pocket. I don't know. I've always carried tip up. Okay, so anyways, this guy is pressed. He's got a spring that pushes him back. I don't know if you saw you can see the spring right through there. It's stiff, but not too stiff. It snaps right back into position. Okay. And when it's in the locked position, you can't push this liner lock down because it's got a little bar pointed up at a 90-degree angle straight up into the back of the liner lock. So you can't press it down. So you have to pull this out of the path, and then you can go ahead and close that, push that down, and now the blade can close. Now, one thing that I noticed right away, of course I was missing the pocket clip, and I had an extra pocket clip laying around for this guy. I suppose I've lost it. Well, it doesn't really matter. I had an extra pocket clip, and I put it... Oh, here it is. There's the original, I guess. And I put it on here, and I was going to... Basically, I was going to take one screw out of each one of these guys and order some screws, and at least I'll have 2 screws in all 3 knives, and then I can begin to carry this. And that wasn't going to work. The screws are apparently smaller in this M16 than they are this M21 and this M16. It gets a little confusing with so many different knives with very similar names. I guess if I was to talk about the numbers, I really don't know what they mean. I do know that crkt manufactures these, but I think they bought the rights from Kit Carson. He's the one that designed this knife, and I couldn't tell you how long ago he designed. This is an older knife. I'm seeing information that shows that this could be. I'm seeing videos as old as 2010 talking about this knife, and I've seen comments saying that it was not a new knife then. I don't know. the point of my video isn't to, I guess, give you a historical background. I throw little tidbits in if I know them. I mean, I can offer up some trivia. For example, I learned that this designer died, I guess. And I want to say recently, but I don't think it was. I think it was like 6 years ago. And he seemed like just a normal dude who made knives, and crkt picked him up, or picked up a couple of his designs anyway. So as far as the M16, that was I don't know where that came from, but I do know that Kit Carson did have other knife designs that started with M. And being that he was a military man, I kind of got a feeling that M was for military, but do not quote me on that. I couldn't tell you what 16 means. It could mean Tonto. I'm only guessing that because I've got another 16 right here, and it also has the Tonto point. I suppose it could technically mean serrations. I really don't know. I doubt it. We've got serrations on this also. I don't know what the 13 means, but I am pretty sure that the D stands for desert. This is desert sand color. Okay. And the SFG, I believe, is Special Forces. I'm sorry, yeah. The SF is Special Forces, and I believe G is for the handle. This is that G10 handle material. So when I found an old video of mine that I uploaded to YouTube, like just about a couple years after owning this, I think. And boy, that was a long time ago. It was like, I think I uploaded that video maybe 10 or 12 years ago. I don't know. I don't remember for sure. It's on a different channel that I still have access to. But I called this plastic. It is not plastic. I don't really know what it is, but it feels and looks like it's layered. It's almost like a PCB. If you look at a printed circuit board from the side, you'll see all these layers are just kind of layered together. You can see the waves in the design. That camera's hopping all over the place trying to focus. It is grippy enough. And I think one of the ideas is that we have a metal frame for strength, and then we widen the knife up a little bit with plastic, or G10 in this case, and they call this a Zytel, to give us something for your hand to get a hold of, to give it a little more girth, but keeping the weight down. I think that's the idea with most of these knives. If you look, they have metal in the frame and then plastic of some sort. So a lot of times they try to give the plastic a fancy name. In this case, I call it G10. I know other companies have that material. I do know that it wears out over time. I really need to find out how old this knife is, but I've had it forever. I want to say I've had it since, could have been 2008 or 2009. Maybe. I don't know. You'll see it almost looks shiny. It's because it's been polished by my hand and pocket and stuff. This is a much newer version of I believe it's the almost exact same knife, and you'll notice that this one has a shimmer and a shine to it. It's just from being worn in my hands and tossed on the table and in my pocket, just rubbing on my pocket and stuff. You could see where the pocket clip was rubbing, had material pinched down against the handle right here, and it's extraordinarily smooth and shiny right there. Same with up here. Okay. So I'm trying to go over every little thing here. So there's the handle. I guess we can talk about the pocket clip. This pocket clip may not be the correct pocket clip, but it works. I suspect the pocket clip on here might be a little bit smaller. For whatever reason, it's a little shorter on this big knife than on the 14 SFG. So this is the same size. No complaints. This is a little stiff. I will probably at some point get something and pry up on it, you know, to loosen that up a little bit. I think it's too stiff. I don't like them that stiff. Let's see here. The pocket clip is movable. So you can do, you know, when they say tip up, if this was clipped inside of your pocket, the tip is pointing up. Okay? So the clip would be on the outside of your pocket, and the knife would be in the pocket. The tip is up. You can do a tip down configuration. I believe that's how it comes. And then you can move it down here. You can, this is right hand. You can make it left hand and put the pocket clip on the other side. And you'll see we have 3 holes here, 3 holes there. We have 2 holes, or 2 fasteners securing these 2 halves together on this end of the knife. On the other end of the knife, we have this 1 screw holding it together. We have a thumb stud, but it's not really used for deploying the knife. On some of these others, you could use that. Well, that's loose. That's a problem. Time to get the Loctite out. On this knife, you can get away with using that thumb stud, but that's not really what it's there for. The thumb stud acts like a stop. Basically, the thumb stud, you got them on either side, rests right here. If that thumb stud was not here, this blade would come on back around or jam something up with the lock. Okay, so I've seen some people complain that they can't get to that thumb stud. Well, you're not really supposed to use it for that. You can get away with it on this guy, but even if you could get your thumb in there, your index finger is going to be in the way, so that's going to be a nightmare. I suppose if it's halfway deployed, you could just go ahead and put your thumb on the thumb stud and go like that, and it's open. I did see what kind of metal the blade's made out of, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what it is. And it's something that I have laying here, I think. Never mind, I don't know what it is. A lot of folks say that it's okay, but not the best. But I want to say that this knife is like $60 and brand new. If you hop, you know, that's actual retail price. If you go off of MSRP, it's like an $80 or $90 knife. It's possible that this could be even more with this, whatever they're talking about here. So I don't know if that's law enforcement, military. I don't know what this is about. Surprisingly, I can't find anything about that. So, you know, I guess we've talked about these flippers here. I've heard some people call them flippers, some people call them quillions. I've seen some people refer to as a hilt, and I've looked up the term hilt. Hilt refers to this whole area as far as dictionary that I read. The hilt is not this. The hilt is the entire thing. It's the cross guards, the handle, and that's from back in the day when everybody had swords. There was something called a pummel or something down here, so you could smack somebody with it, I guess. I kind of like cross guards. As you can see, it gives you something to get a hold of, or not to get a hold of, but to press against. So if I think that I saw where crkt is marketing this as military tactical knife or whatever, I don't really know if that's I've seen people say that this is like designed to military spec. I highly doubt that. I think it's mostly marketing. I think it's effective marketing, and they're not there's not with it. It's not to say there isn't something tactical about, or not tactical, but offensive or super, what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive. And by offensive, I don't mean like words hurting feelings, but there's clearly it's an aggressive looking knife, and it feels like it was almost designed for stabbing or puncturing. And I can see why holding it like this, I feel like my thumb's back farther than it should be. I feel like my thumb should be up here. If we were to look at any of these other knives, your thumb is almost always just a little farther than your index finger, but on this guy, not so much. So I see why CRKT stopped putting these up here, because I guess a lot of people are complaining about it. I would rather me adjust where I put my thumb than get rid of that, to be honest with you. I can tell you that the tips of these serrations always break off, and I'm looking closely at this, and it looks like they're gone. They're so thin, it's so fine, and that's where folks were saying that the metal in this just isn't good enough for that super fine of a tip, which is fine. This knife is not sharp. It's been used. It's been carried. But I find it curious that they took this off. I wonder if somebody kept it in their pocket. I will say this. My dad doesn't use these pocket clips. He throws it in his pants pocket. And you have to be careful with that because it will open. So if something pushes on this, like say you sit down and the side of your pants, I don't know, the knife gets in a position where the side of the pants can tighten down against the edge over here, boom, it'll open your knife. And then, I don't know about anyone else, my right pocket is my knife pocket. Nothing else goes in that pocket. My left pocket is my keys and also a knife clipped. So I don't know. I didn't think that he would carry it in his pocket. Rather than use the clip, I would clip it to the pocket. I don't think this would be a good knife to actually place inside your pocket because there's no safety keeping it closed. Okay, you can open it pretty easily because of these great big things here. So, and I suppose that's the tactical part for me, is that this blade will deploy. For me, a tactical knife is, if it's a folder, is one that can be tucked in the pocket, out of sight, can't see it, but you can draw it out of your pocket and open it, and you have a good solid lock that you know is going to work. Let's say you've got a pit bull or someone or something that you need to immediately get under control and know that you can do whatever and you're going to be in good shape with your knife. That's the point of this style of knife, I think, or any knife that I would classify as tactical. I don't know if I guess that's a good word. I don't like using words like that, but I guess it works. So, I do like this edge here, as I can see the knife or the camera is picking up. It is not. The edge needs some work, but I'm not ready to do that work. It looks like nobody sharpened it. It looks like it's barely been carried, to be honest with you. I did get 2 of these screws turned around. This screw, I can see the shiny edge was back here. Wonder if somebody broke the clip, broke the pocket clip, and then just took it off because they didn't like a broken clip on there. Okay, we got a burr on this edge here, but that's okay. I think all in all, it's in great shape. I'm not going to complain for $20. I will say, at first, it feels small. And I've seen some folks complain. Maybe complain is not the, well. There were some people complain, but I've heard other people just make comments that it's too small. You know, you could hold it like so. To be honest with you, it's actually pretty comfortable like this, but it does feel a little bizarre. But that's also coming from a guy who's been carrying these giant knives here lately. I've been carrying these big guys. So it is feeling a little strange to me. Carrying the big knives felt strange at first. And, I guess if I had to be completely honest, I should mention that I'm just going to rotate the tripod around. Somehow I got turned the wrong way, of course. But going from this knife to this knife felt weird. So, you carry a certain knife for 5 years or something, you go to something else, it's going to feel different. But I've been going through a lot of knives here lately. I don't know, just kind of going through a phase, I guess, but so I guess I would call this like the little brother to this guy. But for all I know, this guy could have been around before. I don't know. This could have been around before these guys came around. I just don't know. It is significantly smaller in the hand. I know laying on the table it doesn't look like it, but this is quite a bit more comfortable. I feel like I've probably said this before. I just recently created a video talking about these two knives. I don't think I've uploaded that yet, but these, I feel like if I was not such a fatty, I could probably almost use these to climb a tree. I feel like these are super durable in every way and can take lots of abuse. I feel like the same could be said for this. Well, not exactly the same. It does feel durable. It feels well built, well designed, but I wouldn't trust. I don't know. It'd be interesting to stress test this, to test this lock and see how much weight it can support. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe it's 100 pounds. I don't know. I have no idea what this is, but I'm guessing it's probably closer to 200 pounds or so before that lock fails. Actually, the frame will probably just fail at that point. So, I don't know. Lots of speculation there. I probably shouldn't be doing that. So, I wanted to get a lot of camera time just kind of showing the blade, just kind of sitting here hanging out, and its size and shape and how it compares to the others. I guess cosmetically, I like how it looks a lot. I like the looks a lot, which is what actually kept me coming back to it. And when I found this, I wasn't even looking for it. I think I was looking to see what these were going for. When I saw this for $20, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I normally try to go for black knives. You'll see the occasional exception. It is kind of, it just looks mean and aggressive to me. And it almost looks like this is slightly oversized for its small handle. And I don't get the impression, this is not an exact smaller version of this. There are other differences. For example, if you look, I think these handguards are almost exactly the same size. They left those the same size, but shrank the blade down a little bit. Also, we have, I don't know what you'd call this. I've seen some people call this kind of a swedge on other knives. I don't know if that term applies to the Tonto style knives, but we don't have that. Basically, we have a slow, very slow, gradual taper down to this point here, very, very gradual from up here. It's so gradual that it almost looks like there may not even be a taper now that I'm looking at it. Let me measure that. We're 3 millimeters here. We're going to go out here to the very end. It does not taper until the very tip. Well, it sure looks like it, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's been a long day. I could be wrong. I have seen some people claim that they have a hard time with the auto locks system. Auto locks lock, and it takes 2 hands to open and close a knife. As you can see, that is not the case here. I reach over with my index finger, pull this down, use my thumb to push down on the lock, and then I use my index finger to go ahead and push up on this, and then I'll let momentum go ahead and bring it back down. Now these are very smooth and awesome. This is very stiff, and I don't know why. This is a few months old, and I noticed right away that it was super smooth. This guy is pretty stiff, and there's no, it's not going to close. You know, whereas like this guy, alright, so I guess we're going to make me look like a liar. I feel like this is on the verge of closing. This is very stiff. Same with this one. Ooh, this one's even looser. Not going to get that out of this. It's way too stiff. I don't know if it's going to break in. It's possible that the knife was barely used. I mean, this could have been someone's self-defense knife, I guess. Maybe they never really got it out. See, I play with my knives all the time, and then they end up getting super smooth, or they're smooth right out of the box. And that's super easy. This is not. I get it to here, and then I have to really flip it. Now, I remember the knife that I previously purchased and gave away as a gift, just like this, but it was the black one. It was stiff to open and close also, and then when I saw it recently, it was extremely stiff. So I don't know if it was dirty or dry, or if he's got dirt or gunk in there, but I've taken this apart completely and cleaned it, and you can see the lube is still kind of oozing out from the nooks and crannies. So I don't know. I don't know if they're supposed to be that stiff. I believe I know where that friction's coming from. And I believe it's the tension on, I think it's the spring tension on this liner lock. It's pressing up against the blade. I don't know if it's just eventually going to get worn in. But I even loosened this pivot point up a little bit, so much so that I can feel a little bit of slop. I mean, I can do even more if my screwdriver is handy. I have a screwdriver, but I found there. I mean, that is super loose. That's too loose. Now the blade is still, it's still stiff, and now the blade is rubbing against stuff. It's hitting, it's not even aligned. This blade is rubbing up against the inside of this handle. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up a little bit again. I don't know, maybe it'll break in. So looks like my battery's about to die on this device. So, and we're just about done anyways. Down to 15% on that battery. I really just wanted to show the LED went out. I like using the light on this device. Again, you know, kind of showing him off compared to some of these other knives that I've been carrying. You know, this is a knife that, I don't know if I demonstrated that, but when you pull this out of your pocket, again, it's been a very long day. When you pull this out of your pocket, it will deploy that blade. Just, let's go ahead and demonstrate that real quick, and then I'll be done. So, that's super easy. So, I like it. I think it's great. I think it's be a good EDC knife. I think it's a little aggressive looking for a lot of people. It'd probably be great for self-defense. You know, it's a nice little knife. This is tiny compared to what, you know, I'm used to. I guess if we were to you know, line them up against, you know, this Gerber Easy Out and this Kershaw, whatever this is that doesn't have a name, you could see it's just about the same size. And I'll tell you, if I'm up against a pit bull or an attacker, what would I rather have? Obviously this guy. I mean, we can deploy the blade out of the pocket, and we also have these nice hand guards, you know, for whatever it is we need, however we want to hold this. And then if you just want to cut or slash some things, that I think that'd be fine too. I don't know if I showed, we had this jimping here. We also have the jimping on the lock. We also had jimping down here on the liner lock. I guess this, I don't know, the safety thing, whatever you call that. So that's all I got. My goodness, 45 minutes, 42 minutes. That's it. That's too long. I need to shorten these down somehow. Quit talking so much. But I will officially have the longest video on this knife. I guess that's all I got for now.